Hello, welcome back to my Flosstube. I think this is number 4. Yes, number 4. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me before and is coming back. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Emma. I use pronouns M or Emma. I'm gender fluid, so I found that works better for me than trying to define my pronouns on any given day. It's Pride Month, way! So yes. We are celebrating and still protesting. So yes, there's loads of really great resources out there in Pride Month to find out more about what's going on, how people are feeling. So yeah, do keep an eye out for what people are sharing, and also keep an eye out for things that are coming from people in the community, because it's really important to lift up voices, especially from Black individuals or people of colour in the community. You'll hear people saying a lot that Pride started as a riot, and it's really important to remember that a lot of people in that riot were people of colour. It's difficult with LGBT history because people who are in the community aren't necessarily born to parents from the community. It's harder for our histories to get passed down, so it's really important that we educate each other and ourselves. So with that being said, welcome. I will start off, as I usually do, by showing you what I'm wearing, which I made. I'm not going to be able to keep doing this because I am getting through my wardrobe of things that I've made, especially for summer, because most of the things that I've made are knitted and are slightly too warm to be wearing now that we're into London summer, which is lovely and warm, but also warm. This is a Myosotis dress. The pattern is from Deer and Doe. I made it in this beautiful peacock fabric. The peacock's over here. It's dead stock fabric, so it's basically fabric from retailers, or mostly retailers, or other companies that bought the fabric and then either didn't make enough of the item that they intended it for, or for any other reason couldn't sell the item, and therefore the fabric is sold on to companies to sell on to people who want to just buy fabric instead of buying items. So it means that the fabric doesn't go to waste, doesn't go into landfill. So I like buying dead stock fabric. You also get some really interesting ones. This one obviously has these, I keep going to the wrong side, these peacocks, and then gorgeous kind of, blue flowers, and it's got like gold metallic in it. So yeah, really interesting fabrics sometimes in dead stock that you wouldn't get otherwise. So I love the Myosotis pattern. I've made it a couple of times, once in a top that I shortened the length, once into a dress, which is this one. It's got massive tears. There are pictures on my Instagram. I'll maybe pop in a full-length picture here of me wearing it, and actually my pictures go here, so so you can see what it looks like on. But I love the pattern. I would really recommend it as a dress pattern for summer, or in heavy fabrics for winter. So yes, it is good. Then I'll show you something that I have made previously. Again, we're getting to the end of my things that I have made previously, but I have a few more still to show you. So this is one of my very oldest cross-stitch projects. So I'm really proud of this still. And it's I'll just show you it because it's framed, so hopefully the glare won't be too bad. There we go. It was a kit. It's a very what's the word when it's really zoomed in? Like, I want to say the word max, but I'm not sure there's a word when photos are really zoomed in, like view of a poppy. And I really enjoyed stitching this. It came as a full kit. I just used all of the kit, fabric, floss. It took a long time because it is full coverage, you can see. Full coverage, full cross, so no half crosses in here. I'm sure I fudged some bits of this because I am at heart a fudger. And then we got it framed up in Yorkshire, where it's slightly cheaper to get things framed. And we know one near my house who does a fantastic job, and he did a brilliant job with the green. You can see the deep green mat, the cream interior mat, and then this black frame, and it just looks really modern, and I love it. And from a distance, if I hold it back slightly, it does look like a photo when it's on the wall. You can't really tell that it's stitched, which I absolutely adore. So this lives in our house, and one day, I showed you the rose the other week, we'll get the rose framed, hopefully in something that's kind of similar to this, and there'll be a pair, even though the rose is significantly bigger than this one, and they have the same kind of feel, that really massively zoomed in view of a flower, and I really do adore both of them. I'm not sure that I would stitch something like them again. They were a lot of work. I have other things that I like more now, but at the time I really enjoyed stitching both of them, and yeah, I think the finished pieces are absolutely beautiful. And if you come across a kit like this, I would really recommend it. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Let me just find somewhere safe to put that so I don't accidentally knock it and break it, because that would be incredibly sad. I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, I have propped that up somewhere very safe so that I don't accidentally you know, knock it up and break it, which will be exactly like me. So that it is now safe and secure. Apologies, I'm going to keep moving my hair because it's slightly too long now and it needs a cut. This fringe bit is really irritating me. So apologies if I keep brushing it out of my eyes. It's all slightly too long. Since I last saw you, I've been slightly unwell. I got an infection and was on antibiotics and not not super with it. And then I had my first COVID vaccine, yay! Which was great, but also completely knocked me out for a week. I was fine. My arm was a little bit sore and I was really, really tired. I slept way more than I've slept for ages. Aside from that, absolutely fine, but it just meant that I haven't stitched as much as I usually would. So I feel like this is going to be a really short one because I have significantly fewer projects to show you than I have previously. So, however, having said that, I have finished two things, one of which is the koi pond. So let me show you the koi pond by Shannon Designs, which I have finished, and I'm so thrilled. I finished all the stitching and then I went back in and added all the beads, and I really enjoyed it. I found the beading so satisfying. It just, I have my beadle on my tacky bead mat, which I have around here somewhere. There it is. So, it looks like this. You stick all the beads onto it. It's kind of it's almost like it's sticky to the touch, but not so sticky that things are difficult to pull off it. But what that means is that you can put all your beads onto it and then put it on your desk, and those beads are not going anywhere. If you knock it or you chuck it on the floor, or you knock your tea or anything, those beads are stuck onto it and they're not going anywhere until you pick them off. So you can be pretty certain that you can just pull your beads onto it, the amount that you think you're going to need, and just leave it on your desk and pull them off when you need them. But those beads are staying where you need them, so you don't need to be like opening boxes or leaving open boxes out where you're going to knock them off. I feel like I'm giving you the correct impression that I'm quite a clumsy person. So any tool that makes me being a clumsy person easier is great. And yeah, this made beading very satisfying. I did it all with a size 28 needle. So it was just really, really simple. And I got some Nymo thread just off Amazon. I didn't use this colour. I used some blue, which was basically the same colour as the fabric. And what that meant was that I could just thread a length, go through, put all the beads on for that length of thread, finish it, and then put a new one on. So it was really straightforward. And I would really recommend, if you're going to be beading, if you're going to wait and do all the beads in one go, try and get beading thread, Nymo. I just searched Nymo on NYMO on Amazon. And I really don't think it matters what size you get, because they're all the same. You can get different diameter Nymo, but I got two different diameters and they're exactly the same for all intents and purposes. So get some that's the same colour as your fabric, and then just do all your beads at once, because it's so satisfying and it's so much quicker, and I certainly find it really enjoyable. So with that being said, let me show you this because it's amazing. Right, now hang on, which way's the top? All right, so it's so good. It's so good. If I pull it in a bit closer and wait for the camera to focus, you can see. Is it focused yet? So, I mean, there's so much going on in this piece. It's an incredible design. There's metallic thread. I mean, even just the cross stitch alone, there's about 1,200 stitches of just metallic thread. Then there's seed beads all in the middle. The seed beads also make quite a lot of the detail in the dragonflies. There's seed beads here. Then there are these beads, which have a name, which I've forgotten. You know, they're good. They're good beads. These round ones, which are a really interesting shape, they're called paisley beads, and the pattern calls for a colour called tropical rainforest, but those are impossible to get hold of. So I got a colour called something else. This is going super well. Let me get out my bead pack so I can tell you what I got. Have them all in my Frosted Pumpkin bag. So these are called Aqua Rembrandt because Tropical Rainforest just, as I said, I kitted this all up individually because the bead packs I couldn't get hold of. Being in the UK, sometimes it's more difficult to get hold of things, and I couldn't seem to find them anywhere. If I could have got hold of the bead packs, I would have, because you only need like a couple of some of these beads, so it would have been slightly cheaper to get them. So if you do want to do this, and you are if you can get hold of a bead pack specifically for this, I would, because then you'll only have like 4 of the purple beads in these corners here. There are these purple, what are they called? Anyway, there are 4 of them, and I've got like 25. I'll find a use for them, but yeah, a bead pack would have been fantastic. I mean, the effect is incredible. So just a note on this, the fabric I had is 32 count. The pattern is designed for 28 count. What I did, because I was kitting this up for myself, is I changed the size on all of the corner beads to be 1 size smaller. So I couldn't do anything about the paisley beads. They are the size they are. And I couldn't do anything about these, they're called diamond duo beads, which is really fun. I couldn't do anything about them. They're also the size they are, which seems to be fine. And I probably could have got away with these being the same size, but I reduced the size of all of them by 1, and they fit absolutely perfectly. So if you want to stitch it on 32 count instead of 28, and you're kitting it up yourself, just reduce the size of all of these ones whose names have gone from my mind by 1, and you'll be fine. The seed beads fit absolutely perfectly. There's no issues at all. On 32 count, you can see they're all absolutely fine. I hope you can see. I hope it's focusing. Focus. It's not focusing, but you can kind of see there. I'll take a picture maybe and put it in. There we go. Yeah, the seed beads fit absolutely perfectly. And I finished this while I was watching the end of Lucifer, which was incredibly sad for me because Lucifer has now ended, but also good fun. And yes, I adore this pattern. It was a quick stitch. I finished it in less than a month without even focusing on it too much. The silks were nice, but I would say You don't need them. It would look just as nice with the DMC. I would invest in the Petite Treasure braid. I would invest in the Petite Treasure braid for the metallics. If you like Krynic, feel free to go ahead. However, you're going to be doing 1,000 stitches of it, so I would say go for Petite Treasure braid. I'll show you how much I've got left of my Petite Treasure braid. So this is the gold that I used, which is PB03, which I swapped in, and you can see I still have some left. It's not a lot, but you know, I could use that for something else. And then the yellow that I swapped in, which is really only in the fish. So again, you could get away with swapping that out for a colour if you really don't want to, but I have most of that card left. If you're really not feeling spendy and you're like, actually, I just want to put some DMC in, just swap in the yellow DMC, because it really that colour is only in the fins of the fish and in some of the body of the fish and the tail. So, you know, no one apart from you would ever know that you just swapped in a yellow colour, and it would just be slightly less sparkly. You could even get away with doing that in the gold, and your fish would be slightly more gold than yellow. That, you know, there is enough. If you're careful, you'd get away with one card of gold and putting gold in the fish. If you want to be careful with how much you spend. In terms of the beads, so I bought tubes of Miyake crystals because they're the shiniest, and I prefer them, and I will use them for other things because if your pattern calls for silver clear seed beads, any silver seed beads will do. So I have these now, and I have the vast majority of these left. The main ones that used were these gold ones. I wish I had bought slightly more gold ones, but the ones I ended up buying were kind of brownie, which I still think works, and I'm happy with it. I still have, even now, the majority of this tube, it's empty to about here. So I did use most of this one. If I'd known what colour these were going to come, I couldn't get silver line topaz, which is what it wants. I could only get this kind of topaz, but if I'd thought about it, and if I'd known what these were going to look like, I probably would have bought gold instead. So hindsight is beautiful, but you know, I'll use them for other things, so it's fine. Anyway, let's move on from Koi Pond, even though I'm incredibly happy with it, and I'm very pleased to show you it. But yes, I haven't seen many finished versions of this, so I just wanted to spend a bit of time showing you it so you can see what it looks like, and I think it's great. Yeah. Put it down. I finished another thing. I was on a roll, and I was like, do you know what? I've had this on the needle for a long time, and I should just get it done. Beach Dance. It's done. Oh, it's so cute. It's kind of washing out there, but this is Beach Dance by Lindy Stitches. It's super cute. It's two blue-footed boobies doing their little mating dance. Didn't make many changes here. The only thing I did was swap in a yellow instead of a blue for these flowers because I changed the background fabric from being a yellow to a blue, so I thought a yellow would stand out more than a blue here, and I wanted to draw attention down to the feet, so draw your eye with a bright colour. So I think that is super cute. I also took out the border because screw that. There was an entire checkered border around the outside, but I'm just going to frame it instead. And it's going to a friend who absolutely loves birds. So all I need to do now is frame it and send it, and it's done. And I'm really pleased with it. I think it came out super well. I wish the middle of the flowers is done in a slightly lighter pink, and I think my light pink was too close to the light purple, and I wish that I'd put in a slightly different one, but I'm not taking it out. It's done. It's over. It is complete. C'est fini. But I adore this pattern. I think it's really super cute, and yeah, another finish. Next up is Dark Queen of the Seas. We're into the whips now. I put in a bit of time on Dark Queen of the Seas, and I got quite a lot of her body done. This is by Autumn Lane Stitchery. It's a stitch along. I'm not doing it at the same pace as the stitch along. I'm just kind of going at my own speed. But so I have been working down here to put in her body and come down to the other two fish down here to make sure that I've got my counting right, basically. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it so far. I think it looks super cute. Yeah, very happy with it. That's all I've got to say on that one, really. This fabric is sorry, let's just go back to Beach Dance for a second. I got overexcited. This fabric is it's printed fabric from Claire Brown Egg Stitch. I think it's Stormy Skies. Basically the front is printed with this kind of greyed out and the back is white. Yeah, it's super cute. It's 32 count even weave. I much prefer it on a blue than on the brown that it was kind of suggested to be on. I'm really pleased with my choice for that. This fabric is Iolite. It's a Chromatic Alchemy hand-dyed 32 count linen, and I do love it for this piece. I think it looks amazing. I wish it was slightly less floppy. I'm used to working with even weave rather than linen, but I wanted the saturation of colour that you get on linen for this fabric, and I'm just finding it a little bit floppy to work with, but it's fine. It's not difficult to work with. It's just that when I pick it up, I have to get into the rhythm of working on it again. So it's not an issue. It's just different. Next up is Rooks, and I've put quite a lot of time into this one because I would like to get it done. It's by Owl Forest Embroidery. Owl Forest, yes. I adore Owl Forest Embroidery. I have so many of their patterns in my to-do list. And now that I've finished 2 of my smaller ones, I'm considering casting on. I say casting on because I'm a knitter at heart, but I don't have a good word for starting a cross-stitch pattern. Sewing on, starting. Someone needs to invent a word for that. Yeah. Xing. It's a bad word. It's not right. I'll come up with something. Let me know if you've got a good word for starting a cross-stitch pattern. This is Rooks. Oh, it's too big now. I'm really, really happy. Let me move that thread. I'm really happy with how this is coming on. It's so good. Yeah. I got down into the bottom down here, so I'm now on the second page, which isn't a full page, it's like a half page, and I got down onto this, like, it's either ground or bench, I'm not quite certain, with these extra little rooks, and then there's like pretty much only the border, the bottom of this tree. There's one big rook here, but now pretty much all that's remaining is to put the border in, to put the people's initials in, and to put the date in. So it's nearly there. I'm a bit intimidated by the border. I've not actually done anything with like a fancy border, and I'm nervous that I'll do it and it won't match. But I mean, that is what it is. I still need to do it and just see what happens. So that is Rooks, and I'm thrilled, honestly. It's yeah, I mean, look at it. It's so good. The fancy floss for this is just so good. Like this, I think this is new since you last saw it, and it's just it just comes together so perfectly. Like their sense of colour is amazing. At Owl Forest, I absolutely adore their patterns. The new normal. Less progress than I would have liked on the new normal. Like I said, I've been kind of out of it, but I did come over here and start doing this next little bubble with the jumping rabbit and the little duck, and I think it's really cute. And I finally finished off this one here with the flowers and put the snail in. Look at that adorable little snail. Every little thing that I put into this, I'm like, yes, I adore it. Yeah, no, I do absolutely love this piece so much, and I just like, it's so good. Like that rabbit over there, the jumping one, it's so good. Yeah, and the snail. I still love the snail. I put the snail and I was like, yes, snail. So yeah, I'm getting there slowly. I'm definitely over 33% now, so that's good. That one is on Burgundy 32 count even weave, and I'm stitching it in sulky. It's the only one that I'm stitching in sulky, and let me show you my spool. Theoretically, according to the calculations, this king spool should do the whole thing, but like if you look at it, it looks like I've already used loads of it, and it is the middle only that big? Has anyone used a sulky king spool to the end? Like, should I be concerned? Do I need to buy a second one? I am a tiny bit worried about how much is left on here and how much of that I still got left to do. Like, should I buy a second one now just to make sure that it's definitely the same dye lot? Like, I don't know. Like, if you look at how much is my white hand behind that white spool, maybe if I put my phone. Oh yeah, you can see Shira giving away my interests. I don't know. It feels like I've used a lot. Has anyone used one of these right to the end? Do they know? Like, how big is the middle? Should I be concerned? Like, according to how much is on this and how much Longdog say you should use, it should be enough. But starting to get a bit concerned visually about how much I've used of this. Oh, the nerves of cross stitch. The next thing I've been working on is my, oh no, don't fall off, is my Royal Games. And again, I genuinely couldn't be happier with this. I finished off the face and I got some more browns, like I said I was going to sort out the hair. And I put one, they came and I kind of rearranged my patterning for what I was going to do, and I started to put it in, and I genuinely couldn't be happy with how this is turning out. I think it looks amazing. I also got some lip and cheek colours, and I think they look really, really good. It's very sunny today. I think it's kind of washing out slightly, but yeah, it looks so good. Yeah, it's definitely washing out slightly. Yeah. The face will have slightly more definition once I put the back stitch in. There's like back stitch to define the eye, and I think the outline of the face gets done as well. And then there's beading which comes in on the earring, and again more beading down in the necklace. And I don't know if you can kind of see the Petite Treasure braid. It's a very pale pink colour that's already in around her necklace. I don't know if it's picking up there, it's not really. But there is some very pale pink Petite Treasure braid already in there. And then there's some more gold treasure braid to go in here into the crown. And then basically she has loads of flowers in her hair, which is really cute. So yeah, that's her. And then basically she's done. Once that's done, I've got a bit more white to put in up here because I was fed up of doing white by the time I'd done all of this side, and I started here and I was like, no, done now. So I need to put in a tiny bit more here, but then once the crown is done and the hair, obviously there's the queen symbol here, and then there's a little heart, and there's another heart that goes in on the outline of the card. But aside from that, that is the Queen of Hearts done. Because I'm not going to put the beading on just yet. And then basically I flip her upside down. And I start working on the Queen of Spades. And the Queen of Spades is all like teals and purples, which is really fun because it's an entirely different colour palette to the one that I've been working on up there. And yeah, so that's very exciting. So yeah, soon I will swap around and I'll be working on the other one. If you like seeing backs, I'm quite proud of that one. She's looking very neat. Not all of my pieces look like that. That is a very neat one. Especially since I learnt pin stitch, the top is looking fantastic. I really need to overlock the edge of that. It's starting to fray quite badly, but I haven't had the overlocker out recently, and I don't tend to get it out just to do cross-stitch projects. I tend to get it out. When I have it out, I'll do all of the things I need to do, so maybe I'll get it out at some point in the future. That pattern is by Mirabilia. The new normal is by Longdog. Did I say that? Probably not. I feel like I'm all over the place today. It's really hot in London, and I feel like it's just made my brain kind of melt slightly. Royal Games 1 is by Mirabilia. I'm stitching it on a 32 count merino by Zweigart in antique white to mimic the look of a playing card. Second to last project that I've worked on is the Transpride Tapestry, charted by D's 20 Stitches. Now, let me check. Yes, it is this way up. Wow, that fabric just looks entirely white. It's not. Nope. Maybe if I get something white and hold it next to it. No. Anyway, you can see there's a unicorn on there. I'm just going to change some camera settings. Give me a sec. Okay, so this is the Transpride Tapestry. You can't quite see this fabric as it is. What it is a sort of mottled blue and yellow springtime colour pattern. If I fold in the white backside, it's too sunny today. It's not coming through at all. I'll take a picture of it and pop it in so you can hopefully see what it actually looks like. And you can see I've started to make a dent on the unicorn. And oh my goodness, the outline of this unicorn has so many stitches in it. It's a big boy. It's a big boy. But it is beautiful. And I started this off in a classic colourworks that I had on hand called Sugar Snap. It's purple. It doesn't look purple, but it is purple. And I'm going to need some more of it because it's one skein will not be enough. I'm going to run out. So I'm going to need to just get some more, but I think it looks gorgeous. And when I put in the picture that shows you the actual colour of it, I think you will too. I got some other exciting fancy flossers to put into this. So this is Snips and Snails, and it is, I've been looking at this on Lakeside Needlecraft for ages, and it goes from like purple to blue to mint, and I've been like, I want that, but I don't know what I would use it for because it's a very odd set of colours. But I'm really excited about putting this into this piece because I think it would be cute in like the main. So yeah, I'm going to pop that in. I also have Bluebell, which is kind of minty. They're all going to look wrong. Anyway, Bluebell, which is sort of minty green. This one is, Bluebell is by the Gentle Arts. Lavender Louise, which is from Classic Colourworks, which is a nice sort of pinky purpley. And then I also got Cottage Blue from the Gentle Art, which is a kind of grey to mint colour. So I'm going to sort of mix and match where I put them and change the colours in the design slightly just to fit some of those. But yes, I'm slowly picking away at this. It's going to be a big long-term project because it is big. But I'm fine with that, and like I said, I may only do the unicorn and just not do any of the plants around it, but I'm also fine with that. So that one is underway. The final thing that I've been working on is what I showed you last week, my gold work snow bunting. So the only one that's in a hoop, because I can't do actual embroidery not in hoops. And there it is. So you can see that the metallic threads are reflecting in the sun. So what have I done? So there are 2 layers of felt padding sewn on here. This is a layer of suede that's been sewn on with a sequin on top of the eye. The satin stitch beak, and then these are silver passing strands that have been couched using embroidery thread. Go on, I dare you. There we go. Couched on, you can see there were slightly different colours of embroidery thread to make the head of the bird. I have a few more rows of couching to do on the head before it's known as plunging, pull these strands through to the back of the work and secure them. So you can kind of get a better idea of all the work I've done on the back. So you can see what I've been doing. But it takes more concentration because these aren't techniques that I'm familiar with. So I'm referring to the instructions for every step and making sure that I'm doing it correctly. And it's not something that I can just kind of sit and do. I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. Not that I can't just like, I've got to be like, oh yeah, just sit and cross stitch and don't pay attention to it. Like obviously I have to pay attention, but it's not like I'm not learning how to cross stitch. I know how to cross stitch. I'm learning how to do this. So it's a little bit different. But I think it's coming out really well. I'm really pleased with it, and the instructions are fantastic. So if it's something that you're like, I would like to give it a go, I would recommend Becky Hogg's kits because the instructions are so thorough, and maybe if you've never done any embroidery before, I recommend starting with a standard embroidery kit, so something like that's not gold work, basically. If you've never done any embroidery that's not cross stitch before, I wouldn't jump straight into gold work. I'd jump into something that's more standard embroidery. What's standard embroidery? But you know, like there are loads of people who sell amazing embroidery kits. I have a book. Hang on, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, like for example, this is a book of embroidery patterns. This is from Jennifer Cardenas Riggs. She's at Thread Honey on Instagram, and these will take you through various different embroidery techniques. So things like satin stitch and back stitch, split stitch, lots of different stitches stem stitch, things that will be useful for you to know before you move into gold work. And I really like, basically I really like Thread Honey's style. She does really modern, interesting projects. If you check her out on Instagram, you'll be able to see the kind of things that she does. Like, for example, there's a kind of some work onto clothing, but they're really interesting. There's a kind of cushion design from the book. Try and make that pick up. But this one's called Embroidery Now. But for example, that's kind of like that's an easier place to start with embroidery than jumping straight into gold work. That would be a better place to go if you're a beginner. And then once you've done a couple of embroidery patterns and you're like, actually, I do understand what satin stitch is, I do understand how to tension work, and I understand what back stitch is, and I understand what split stitch is in an embroidery sense rather than a cross stitch sense, then I would go for gold work. And if you're already there, then Becky Hogg's patterns are fantastic, and I would go for it. But if you're like, I want to have a go at embroidery, do it. It's really good fun, and it's not difficult, and it's the same as cross stitch. You can find a pattern and follow it. The instructions are very clear. If you're good at following cross stitch patterns, you can follow an embroidery pattern. It's the same thing. You look at the directions you've been given and you just follow them. And then over time, maybe you'll see things that you want to draw or things that you want to copy, and you can branch out. But if you just want to start from an easy place, find someone's kits and do them, because that's basically what you're already doing with cross stitch. And it's another skill to have. It uses basically all the materials you already have, and you don't need to if you want to do another craft that uses everything you already have, embroidery is a great one, because it's all the same materials as cross stitch, but basically just learning a different set of skills. And they have a lot of crossover, and I feel like people are really intimidated by embroidery, but actually, if you're worried about it, just get a kit and just follow the instructions, because it's quite straightforward if you do it in that way. That was a long sidebar. Anyway, I really like this book. If you're curious about embroidery and you want some more modern patterns, if you have a look at Thread Honey's Instagram and you like her style, the book's really good. What am I doing? That was basically it. I haven't really bought anything that I haven't already shown you, because I showed you my thread, showed you my Nymo, showed you my beads. I've got a couple of bits of fabric coming. I realised that I haven't started Princess Eliana yet, despite really wanting to, because I'm not mad about that piece of Picture This Plus fabric. If you remember, I bought some Heroic, which is like tan with bits of pink and blue on it, but the bit I've got is tan with tiny bits of pink and blue on it, and I don't love it, at least not for that piece. So I've ordered some other bits. I needed to get some fabric anyway for Octopus Treasure Cave, so I also ordered some other options for Princess Eliana at the same time, from 1 to 3 Stitch. So they are all, they're still Picture This Plus, because I wanted some things, different options from what I could get in the UK. I checked all my usual UK suppliers, and they just didn't have quite what I wanted for Octopus Treasure Cave, whereas there were some Picture This Plus options that I really quite fancied. So I have ordered, I think, about 4 different, one option for Octopus Treasure Cave, and then about 3 different options for Princess Eliana. But if I don't use them for her, I'll use them for another big piece. So, I mean, I still have the Heroic. I will use it for something else. And it's neutral, so it will definitely get used. I realised that I hadn't started stitching her yet, because that fabric doesn't sing to me for that piece. So yes, I've allowed myself to kind of put that aside and choose something different. So when they come, I'll show you them and talk you through what I'm thinking and which one I've chosen. But that is where I'm at with that. But otherwise, nothing new has happened, really. It's been a quiet couple of weeks. Work is starting to pick up. I'm back 4 days a week now. And I'm back in the office a little bit more than I was. Uni is also picking up. I'm starting to write my dissertation for my master's course, which is kind of terrifying. So that is starting to require a little bit of my focus. And I'm also running a campaign for the Roll Together Summer Show. So that's also taking some of my focus. So it's going to be a busy summer, I think. Something really exciting that's happening is that my parents are coming down next week to London for a few days. So we're going to see them. We're going to go to the Natural History Museum. We're going to go to Kew, Royal Botanic Gardens Kew, and they'll come to my work. I work at one of the museums. We're going to go visit the museum. They're not going to come to my office. That would be weird. But they've never actually been to the museum that I work at, so we're going to go have a walk around so they can see it, which will be really nice. But I haven't actually seen them since last July because of various different lockdowns in the UK. So I'm really excited to see them. It's going to be fantastic. So the next couple of weeks are also going to be really busy. So that is my life now, I think. But I think that is everything. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined, who's subscribed, who's watching now. It's really great to have you all here and see you, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I've been doing, even though it's slightly curtailed this week. I hope you enjoyed seeing the couple that I finished. Hopefully by the time you see me next, I will be the other way up on Royal Games 1. That's where I'm hoping I'll be. But again, I really enjoy chatting to all of you and hearing from you. So yeah, hopefully see you again in 2 weeks' time. Bye.